And welcome, folks, as we are here with all of you on this particular Saturday morning, late night, everyone public here on the Hats Hits IG Live special. We hope you are enjoying things. I'm going to turn the camera this way. It's a lot easier for me to do it this way. We talk to all of you out there, wherever you may be tuning in, through Cova Sports TV, through the IG platform. We thank you for doing so as we talk a little bit about high school football with our takeaways, our Hats Hits, right here on this particular first weekend of November as we are with you. Yes, it is November football, and we've got some takeaways from the latest edition of what transpired here in high school football. So let's give it to you here in chronological order from what happened on Friday night. There were a lot of exciting finishes. It did not disappoint, the regular season closing out the way it did in high school football, with a bunch of nail biters involving teams that are jockeying for top playoff positioning in various regions. As I mentioned on my first hit, or my first takeaway that I put up on the Twitter or the X, no shortage of excitement. You had games like Highland Springs coming back to beat Hanover 30-27. You had Alta Vista taking down its Dogwood district rival in Gretna 48-47. Heritage Lynchburg outlasting Jefferson Forest in overtime in a game that we thought would be down to the wire, much like Heritage's 35-33 filler with Liberty Christian was a week ago in the Seminole District. And depending on how some of the seeds shake out, we're getting some power ratings that are coming in fast and furious. And I'll give you some that I've already got in front of me from 2C, 2D, 3D, 1C. I'm going to be calculating things up till about 3 in the morning, and then I'm going to wake up and calculate some more things and see how right or wrong or indifferent they are across the board. But to further illustrate how great these exciting finishes were, all those pale in comparison to the game of the night. The game of the night was over in the Piedmont District, where you had Magna Vista and GW Danville play an absolute classic. And Magna Vista was undefeated. They were one of 13 unblemished teams on the year coming into tonight. And we wrote about this. We talked about it back in the summertime when I did my top 10 games list that Coach Young critiqued and said, you should have this game higher, this game lower. And one of my top 10 games was Magna Vista GW Danville. I had a women's basketball game to broadcast. If I did not, I probably would have watched this game or made a way to get to Danville for this, because GW and Magna Vista had some classics over the years. Just a couple years back, it was 27-26 in overtime. And the road team, ironically enough, had won the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 meetings in this series. And many of those being decided by 6 points or less, or 7 points or less, or a couple scores, tight down to the wire ball games. And that one did not disappoint, with GW Danville taking it in double OT over Magna Vista by a count of 50-49. If you're going to draw up a perfect high school football game to go see, you want a 50-49 double overtime game. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, unless you're rooting for Magna Vista. You didn't like the outcome there. Shouldn't cost them the number 1 seed in 3D. It's not, because I'm showing from our guy Robert Anderson, he's got Abingdon the 8 at Magna Vista the 1, so it's not going to cost them. 7 seeds, Cave Spring at Lower Bottom top the 2. And by the way, hit the comment line, the chat line. If you want to know who's playing who, I will tell you unofficially my projection on that. And then you can tell me how right or wrong I am when they do release these brackets on Sunday. And I'm almost expecting a bracket or two to be incorrectly posted by whomever, wherever, whenever, wherever, whatever. I can't say why ever. It's not even a word. So there you have it. We do have some comments coming on the YouTube already. Fast and Furious. Justin Ned out there. I remember you, Justin, former PG for the Bethel Bruins. I think my Bruins can make some noise in the playoffs. What you think? Justin, I agree. Your guys are going to be the number 5 seed, averaging 42.8 points per game. They got ballers. They got Derek Fisher, not the former Lakers guard, but the cousin of Michael Vick, nephew of our man Dwight Vick, UVA commit. Kason Campbell at wide receiver is a dude. Amari Pryor, our reigning Chicho's Pizza 757 football player of the week, runs wild. And they got to bring the defense. They're going to draw the 4 seed Nansman River, who took it on the chin tonight against their Suffolk rival, Kings Fork. Understand Tyrell Grant Jr.'s got the leg injury. That compromises the Nansman offense a great deal. But 42 points a game, Bethel's got a chance to go advance in the postseason. Cordero Baker wants to know about 2B out there. I'm going to give it to you as we say hello to Coach Sparks out there as well on the IG. 2B. Do I have 2B in front of me? 2B or not to be? That is the question. Let's see what I got here in front of me. 2B. Do I have the results and the scores? I do. Strasburg, the 1 seed. Buckingham, the 2. Stewart's Draft, the 3. They didn't get it done tonight. Fell to Wilson Memorial 27-13. Central Woodstock's the 4. They lost to Strasburg. Fort Defiance, the 5. Madison County, the 6. So the playoff picture is like this for 2B. Before I get to the rest of my takeaways and go to 2, 3, 4, and 5, I'm gonna cover you guys wherever you want to hit us to cover you tonight. We might go to a 1, depending on how tired I get. Maybe not. Maybe a little long for me. 2B, Strasburg and Buckingham get the buys. 2B's going with 6 teams. There are some regions like 6A, the region where Oscar Smith's the 1 seed. 5D, where you have Riverbend and Stonebridge. 2B, that are going with 6 teams, not 8 teams. I personally think 6 is the way to go. Give the 1 and 2 seeds buys. Let 3 play 6. Let 4 play 5. Makes a lot more sense. I didn't like 4 years ago. We had too many good football teams miss the playoffs. Now, I'm not going to get on a soapbox and go crazy about it because it doesn't burn me up that much. But your matchups will be Central Woodstock, Fort Defiance, 4-5 games, Stewart's Draft, Madison County, 3-6. That's a dangerous game for Stewart's Draft because if you remember last year, Madison County, as an 8 seed, beat the 1 seed, then undefeated Clark County, who didn't have a great year this year, lost a ton of seniors. So that's a dangerous game for Stewart's Draft. When the dust settles, I got Strasburg winning that region. I just do. I think the Rams are too powerful. Now, what happens for them in the state semis? Should they see Armstrong or Pocosin, the favorites out of 2A? Time will tell. But I think they get back to the state playoffs. All right. I think so, too. Offense is really good. The QB is out for Nansman. I don't know how long he's out for. I haven't got an update, Justin. But from what I saw on the NFHS stream, it didn't look good. So I can't sit here and tell you I know for certain if he's done. But I'd be surprised if he's playing from that. 4B, Philip Twan wants to know. 4B, yes, I've got 4B for you. Here you go, Philip. Let me give it to you right here, right now. 4B, the Dinwiddie Generals, who are often in the mix under Billy Mills. They graduated to Harry Dalton, who went to Southern Cal in the Big Ten. We know how great he was, but they've not missed a beat with Zion Boyceau and that crew. You're looking at Dinwiddie as the 1 seed. 2 seed is Louisa, Will Patrick's Lions, led by the 5-star, and Savion Hyder, the Michigan commit, and the 4-star receiver, Dazier Carter, the Rutgers commit. They're going to get the 2 seed. Huguenot, who scored a major win tonight over Manchester. I'll be the first to admit it. I didn't see that coming to that margin. Didn't write Huguenot off when they lost to St. Chris, a really good private school from Richmond, led by Darius Gray, one of the best linemen in the country. Shout out to him. He's also a big-time hoops player, a baller for the Saints on the hardwood. But I didn't expect them to have their way with a really good Class 6 Manchester. So Huguenot has to be taken very seriously. And I'll get to the pairings and some thoughts on it in a second. Because I'm thinking I'm going to upset my folks in Mineral in a moment. I think I'm going to upset them. I think I'm going to. I don't mean to, but I think I'm going to. Cortland is the 5 seed at 9-1. Yeah, 5 seed at 9-1. Have fun with that. Raw Meat Football on Twitter, they don't love that. And I feel for them. They're the 5 seed, 9-1. Only loss was to Louisa. Spotsylvania is the 6. Carolina is 7. Hanover, 7-3 Hanover is the 8 seed. And they had Highland Springs on the ropes. How stinking good. I was about to say freaking good. Whoop, I just did. How stinking good is Region 4B? It's the best in the state when you have a 7-3 team that had Highland Springs on the ropes as your 8 seed. That's the best region in Virginia, bar none. So your matchups are like this, guys. There we go. We got everybody chiming in here. I see you, Bill Ward, Pocosin. Shout out to the Bull Islanders. I see you, Terry Batten, Oscar Smith. I'm going to give it to you. Hang tight, Terry. I see you, Jason Bryant. Evening, folks. I'm going to give it to you. Hang tight. And thank you, Light Ridge Athletics on Twitter or X. This is or the IG. This is a happening, hopping night here for you. But let me give it to you. So 4B real quickly. You're looking at Dinwiddie, Hanover, the 1-8 game. Verona, Cortland, the 4-5 game. Huguenot, Spotsylvania, 3-6 game. Louisa, Carolina, 2-7 game. I got Dinwiddie, Verona, Huguenot, Louisa, the top 4 seeds advancing. But I can see the 3 Huguenot beating Louisa to 2. Even on the road, that offense is explosive. And I can see Varina the 4, knocking out Dinwiddie the 1, which would give us a Varina Huguenot Region Championship. And oh my gosh, I'll say this right now. Whatever 2 teams are left standing in 4B, it feels like the state championship. And that just slided completely 4D, 4C, 4A. But that region is a gauntlet, my gracious. All right. Before I get to those other questions, I'm going to give you my second Hats Hit takeaway, which we have on the X, the Twitter. And that was, give a shout out to a kid at Skyline High School. Junior, put him on your radar, colleges out there if you haven't. This 2027 kid named Zayden Burks ran for 332 yards. You see, well, who he do it against? Doesn't matter. His season numbers, I'm going to tell you who did it, by the way, in just a moment. His season numbers now, 2,226 yards rushing for that young man, Zaylen Burks at Skyline High School. I'm sure he's going to get some offers very soon. They finish up 7-3. They'll be the number 3 seed in 3B. It looks like opening against the number 6 seed, Brentsville District. And oh, by the way, that was against Warren County, who they beat tonight. I think it was 43-6. He had one heck of a night and an awesome year. So that's number 2. Let's take a couple more of the takeaways we have for you. Yeah, there we go. We see Jason out there chiming with his Bull Islanders. And I see you, Donovan Powell, out there. Want to know about Lake Taylor? I'm glad you asked, Donovan. I did get that sent to me by the region chair, Mr. Whittington, out there. You remember Coach Witt. I'm afraid if I, though, hit the X button, I'm going to lose it on my phone that he sent it to me. So I'm going to have to go off memory and make sure it's right. And what I have, he'll probably call me or text me in the middle of this if I'm wrong. Looks like it's going to be this does look right from what I'm looking at from my projections on my spreadsheet. Yeah, Lake Taylor won tonight to the 1 seed. They'll be 8-2. Hosting the 8 seed Colonial Heights at 1-9. Norcom beat Booker T tonight 40-20. Good finish for Anthony Hawkins' Greyhounds, who actually led Lake Taylor late in the second quarter in Norfolk back in October, I think it was, either early October, late September. Norcom with 3 straight wins jumps ahead of Tab, who lost back-to-back to end the year. They go from 6-2 to 6-4. Tab opens up in Portsmouth. New Kent's the 3, Hopewell's the 6. Not the greatest a year for Ricky Irby and the Blue Devils, who have won championships before with Trevion Henderson, now the New England Patriots, former Ohio State Buckeye star. But I do think Hopewell can pull the upset of New Kent in the first round, and Petersburg's the 2 against York, the 7. York, against Coach Young in our picks that we do on Virginia Preps head-to-head, I took the bait last week taking Jamestown to beat York. Didn't happen. And then tonight, York loses to Bruton. So I don't know what to make, what's going on with them. They've had injuries. They got blitzed the first half against Lafayette 2 weeks ago. Bottom line is this is Lake Taylor's region to win. It would be a stunner. I know that Hank Sawyer's teams are not the deepest the last couple of years, but their running game's good with Jeremiah Farabee and Keon Johnson and what they have there. Madrigal Clarkson, explosive weapon, gets interceptions. I believe Elijah Washington's little brother, his little bro had 2 picks tonight. So Titans should get to the state semis. Now, I worry for them in the state semis because they're going to see – I think 3D, which, oh, by the way, with the result tonight, it looks like Lake Taylor would host Magna Vista because of the higher power rating. So they don't have to go out to Ridgewood to host them. But still, I don't know if their defense is equipped to stop a Simeon Moore. I think your state champion in Class 3, sorry, my 757 friends, I think it's coming out of 3C or 3D, where you look at certainly Heritage of Lynchburg, you look at Magna Vista, you look at Liberty Christian, 2-time defending champs. And I would say probably give the nod after tonight to Heritage of Lynchburg, although it wouldn't shock me if Magna Vista or LCA ends up hoisting the trophy. Let's quickly get to our third takeaway before we take some more of your comments that are flowing in on the Facebook and the Twitter and the X and everywhere, and we thank you for doing it in the YouTube. Number 3, going back to terrific ball carriers, we talked about the young man at Skyline. Junior Dylan Booby Wickham. Love that. Booby. Dylan Booby Wickham and West Springfield. Big props to you guys. You weren't on my radar. You weren't in my top 10. You started out 1-2. I pretty much booked you for honorable mention all year long. And you win the Patriot District title. You win the number 1 seed for Occoquan Region 6C. And you come from a 28-13 deficit down. It's really a microcosm of your season for Coach Parker and the Spartans to beat Lake Braddock 34-31, and some big ups to their quarterback, senior Scott Lewis. He can get it done with his arm or his legs. 7-game winning streak, West Springfield. They show me they're for real. They're not a paper tiger. Big win over Lake Braddock, who's won the region the last 2 years. However, you probably are going to see them again on Thanksgiving weekend to have to win the region championship. So it could be another dicey nail biter. But you've earned my respect. some RESPECT. That's what it means to me. All right. We were getting some other questions. Terry wanted to know about seeds 3, 4, 5, and 6 and 6A. Your Tigers, Terry, have the number 1 seed. They get a bye. Based on Thomas Dale getting a win and Manchester losing to Huguenot, it means the 2 seed becomes a bye for Thomas Dale. Your 3-6 matchup is Manchester hosting Lansdowne the 6. Your 4-5 game becomes LC Bird hosting Western Branch the 5. Western Branch could have been hosting LC Bird had Bird lost to James River, but Bird did not. So that's what it's looking like here based on that result tonight. Bird's going to leap in front of James River to get that number 4. Bird's going to leap in front of Western Branch to get that 4 seed and host the Bruins in the regional quarterfinals in 6A. Any more questions we got up here? Let's see if we can tackle them for you before we get to our 4th takeaway on this particular Friday night into Saturday morning as my Alexa's playing in the background. Hey, Alexa, mute yourself, please. All right, there you go. No, Alexa, mute. Alexa, mute. There we go. Here we go. We got one here. Someone wanted to know about, we got it here. Bill Ward. That's right. Coach Ward out there, 2A. This was very confusing, Coach, because I actually had to get a hold of the guy at Bruton who was doing this through some folks that are doing the power ratings. And I also got to thank my man Marty from the Pilot and Daily Press for helping me with this, because I was calculating this and then I noticed some discrepancies with the numbers with this. So it does look like unofficially, I'm going to highlight all these unofficially, but from Tyler Arnold, who's doing the ratings, I think, for your region over there, it does look like Poquoson will be the 1 seed now ahead of Armstrong. And the reason that we were calculating it wrong was to take you into the weeds here, which we don't want to go too deep into the weeds and make people nod off here on this particular episode. But one of Armstrong's opponents, we were getting the wrong numbers on based on what we thought they had for their classification. And I believe, as I go to it now on my sheet, because a lot of this runs together, that opponent was Hertford County, listed as a Class 3 on the initial VHSL master schedule, actually a Class 2. That was where the discrepancy lied. So Poquoson will be the 1, it looks like, with Nottoway the 8 coming your way to Bull Islander country. Armstrong the 2, going to likely host Greensville the 7. Southampton the 6 goes to Lunenburg the 3. I know my guy Will Thomas and the Chargers want some payback from a couple years ago when Coach Thomas was in the hospital and they lost that game. And your 4-5 is TJ King William. So TJ King William, Poquoson's got a lot of history with King William, but TJ, who played Hermitage tough, the defense held up a lot better than I thought they would against the running game of Hermitage. Lost like a 9-7 or 9-6 ball game. TJ's legit. They had those 2 flashy receivers in Amari Goff going to Syracuse and Isaiah Harris, who just decommitted from Old Dominion. We'll see if he makes a new commitment, as it sounds like more and more UVA's sniffing around for him. But not going to be easy. Poquoson Armstrong would be one heck of a region championship if we get it. But there are some landmines lurking, because Lunenburg is a quiet 10-0. And even TJ as a 4 is live. King William is no slouch as a 5 either. So that region, I'm not going to put myself out there and declare a winner just yet. I love Poquoson's line of scrimmage play. I love what they're doing with Braden Agnes and Carter Jones, who's the big-time recruit. Tonight, put it on their opponent, 42 donut against Smithfield. Gavin Kaufman blocking a punt. Austin Conley with multiple touchdown runs. Cody Little runs for $137. Get a couple fumble recoveries, and Dom Galakak gets a 67-yard pick 6 in the 4th quarter to put that one on ice against the Packers of Smithfield. As Ed Young's guys over there will be the number 6 seed in Region 4A, opening up at number 3 seed War Hill. I don't think they're too disappointed, because they've beaten War Hill before, and it keeps them out of that matchup potentially with Phoebus, where Coach Tracy Parker was an assistant coach for some years there, helping out Jeremy Blunt as part of their dynasty run they've had. So that's what it looks like there concerning them. All right, let's finish up with the takeaways and some other things that we'll say before we bid adieu on this episode. If you're just tuning in, we thank you for doing so. Looks like my phone is at 5%, so we won't go till midnight or till 1 a.m. It's past midnight because my phone will die here, and I'll have to say goodbye to my IG audience. We're still streaming on Cova Sports TV and through Facebook and through LinkedIn and through Virginia Preps and all over the place here on this particular episode. We left off, we talked about the exciting finishes with Highland Springs and Alta Vista and Heritage Lynchburg, and, of course, the Magna Vista GW Danville double OT thriller that GW Danville won, as I'm sure Kenny Harris, the basketball coach at Green Run, is still running down Independence Boulevard with his shirt off. Let's hope he's not, because that will blind half of the city. We don't want that, the Danville alum. Number 4, I want to give a quick shout-out to one of the best players we've had in Virginia who won't get a chance to compete in the postseason, not because of injury, but because his team failed to qualify, and it wasn't because of his fault or his doing. He did a lot, but it's pretty fitting that Powhatan wide receiver and JMU commit Ben Whitver became the VHSL's career receiving yards leader with more than 3,400 in his final game. Had an 80-yard touchdown. You're right, Coach Williams. That is facts. Had an 80-yard touchdown catch in this game. Powhatan loses to Cosby, but I think he was vastly under-recruited. When you had 3,400 yards receiving in your career, and JMU is a great school. My dad went there, graduated, so shout out to JMU, though I am an ODU broadcaster, and we don't love JMU because they get under our skin and they beat us too much. So I will admit, though, I thought there might be a few more schools that would try to flip him by now, and he's really been impressive throughout his career. So Ben Whitver, hold your head high, young man. You're in the record books. You had a unbelievable career at Powhatan, and you've done a lot more than a lot of people will, and your future's bright moving forward. So I wanted to give you some love tonight. I'm glad you broke that record tonight. Happy for you. And number 5, going back to the 757 to close things out. And you're welcome, Coach Ward. We appreciate you tuning in. You're doing great work over there, you and Coach Judy and the staff over there at Pocosin. Hope to see you guys soon. I have not been able to. There's been a lot of teams I've watched online, including yours, and that I've not made the in-person trip to, and yours is on the list. I hope to get to. Broadcasting schedule and everything else I got going on provided here. I want to see you guys live before the season's done, but if I can't, still got mad love for you guys and wish you all the best. Hit that cell into the outer to charge and stay live on IG, says our man Lightridge. Well, I would love to do that, but I give you a little inside story, Lightridge Athletics, before I get to my 5th and final takeaway. So I took my dad after my ODU women's basketball game that we broadcasted. Shout out to Delisha Milton-Jones on win number 100 at the helm of ODU. And I'm going to do what you said here for a moment, but my computer's going to die as I do this in about 5 minutes. But as I tell you this story, I took my dad after the game, doing all kinds of buttons and knobs and everything that I do, to one of his favorite steak places for his birthday. It was his birthday today, Michael S. Hatfield. So happy birthday to him. He's 29 and holding. Took him for his birthday to a steak place that he loves, and we would have been home 30 minutes earlier, except the waiter at the steak place knew who I was. He's an alum of a school in the Beach District. I won't say which school. Played quarterback for a school in the Beach District, and then wanted to yak for about 30 minutes. And it was actually, okay, but it kept me behind a little bit. And as that was going on, no outlets from my computer or my phone, messages coming in. I get home. Computer's at 2%, phone's at about 20. So that explains that story. But it is now charging the phone. The laptop is currently sitting at 47%. So we need to get some juice there. We'll try to make it. Jason out there, the Great Steak needs to come back. I'll fly back to Virginia in a heartbeat for that. The Great Steak was a fun place. For those that don't know this, you could go there and cook your own steak. It was a family favorite of ours. But there's actually a few other steak places that are a little higher up on the list. That was a good one, Jason. Do miss it. They had it right there, Military Highway. You know what I'm talking about. That was a classic, but did not. Jermaine Johnson out there. Hey, Coach, thank you for chiming in. We love you. Hanley Millbrook tomorrow are going to change the seating in 4D. That is an awesome question, and it's one that I literally pondered when I saw that GW Danville had won. Solid, thanks. You're welcome. When I saw that GW Danville had won over Magna Vista, because if I'm showing the numbers right, you can correct me if I'm wrong, GW is ahead of Hanley by just about a full point. Hanley beats Millbrook. They're going to get 22 points plus the bonus of the 3 wins, which is 6. So that's 28 points. So you add that 28 to the 269 they've got to make it 297. Does that sound right? 29.7? I don't think that's right. To answer your question, I don't think they will, Coach. Possible, but I don't think they will. If I'm adding up right, I don't think they will. I think GW Danville with that win is going to stay in front. I don't think that Hanley's going to get a whole lot of a juice or boost from Millbrook. I could be adding something up wrong here on that, though. I don't think they're going to move up too much. Millbrook being a 3-win football team, and they've hit a skid here after they beat Kettle Run, and that was a big win for them beating Kettle Run. It's not looking like it's going to help them enough to pass GW. That GW win was monstrous for GW because they ended up getting like 40 points from it. So a huge win for them. And line of scrimmage play really good for them up front with those guys, with Glass and Law. They've been good all year. There was one on the Peninsula right by the Coliseum. I remember that one too, Jason. That was another good one. Yeah. There was another place too. You can probably remember this one, Jason. How about the Steak and Ale? You remember the Steak and Ale? My late grandfather actually painted one of those too in Norfolk. You're welcome, Coach. And number 5, as we were holding you all off here for it, darn impressive coaching job by Tyler Noe and his Cox Falcons. They close out on a 6-game winning streak and grab the number 2 seed in Region 5A by beating Kempsville 31-28. 8-2 overall. They've had heartbreaking losses in the opening round of the playoffs the last 2 years. Got knocked out by a number 7 seed in Deep Creek, which was unexpected. The year before that, a loss on a blocked field goal return for a score by Kempsville. And while I'm still going to tell you that Green Run is definitely the favorite in Region 5A, and I expect them to come out of that region with their offense and their defense, which is rock solid. Cox's defense coming into tonight giving up just 10 points per game. They actually held Green Run to its lowest total of 20 points. Up front, they've done an awesome job. Though Kempsville scores 28, the Cox offense, which I thought was a little bit, iffy at best, has started to find its footing here since the bye week. They've gotten some things going offensively, and because of that, I feel like they have some unfinished business ahead of them. Special teams is really, really impressive with the best kicker around in Army commit Bryson Woodhelm, who we had on our Cova Sports TV show a few weeks back. Cox is going to draw in the first round as a 7 seed Kellum. 5A's got the 3 seed Indian River. Kempsville drops to the number 6 line. They were expecting to be the number 2 seed with the win. And your 4-5 game is also a rematch from last year, the first round. It looks like, based on our unofficial calculations of Bayside Salem, winner there probably going to get Green Run, because I don't see Green Run as the one getting tested like they did a couple years ago by Deep Creek, the 8. Deep Creek, they have been an upset alert team in the past. Andre Twine does a really good job over there with Mike Jones, his running back, who's over 1,000 yards, I think over 1,400 yards all purpose, but they barely beat Grassville tonight, 31-27, and the Grizzlies have been giving up 56 points per game. So I don't see this as an upset alert game at all for the Stallions. So, but Cox, 8-2, unfinished business. That's a coaching turnaround, because their season was about to go a different direction. And they did a nice job. Of doing some wrinkles on offense. They put their really good wide receiver, Grady Swingo, in the backfield around some Wildcat. He got him some yards to complement Tyree Jeffries. Offensive line got the pile moving, and they get the job done. So there you have it. My man over there, 23 Nugget EJ on the X says the GW Magna Vista game was just a game where you came away saying both these teams are really, really good. High-level competition out there tonight. Wouldn't be surprised to see both teams playing the day after Thanksgiving in their respective regions. No doubt. I mean, that's as good a game as you're going to get. Shout out to our man out there, Dinwiddie Football, and Billy Mills, who's now joining the stream as well. Appreciate you, Coach. Great year for you guys, 10-0. A lot of people didn't see that coming, but you got a system over there, and it keeps working, and it's outstanding. But that was the game of the night, 50-49. I mean, every week you get some of these games. So I'm fascinated to see the rest of these playoff matchups. And I'll give you one I just got from my man, Robert Anderson. I want to give you some of these playoff calculations he's throwing my way. Just sent me a note. Now, I don't know if this is accurate for sure. I'm going to check it on my end, but I think he's right about this. This looks like, and we've got some shocking news if it's true. It looks like the Salem Spartans, who have long been a playoff fixture, and they beat Christiansburg tonight 59-36. It looks like they have missed the postseason in Region 4D, which is shocking to say the least. Now, I say that and there's still potentially a chance because you still have Millbrook playing tomorrow. So if they lose, how much will their power rating be affected by it? That remains to be seen. And Salem, it looks like, though, as at the moment, it's a 1/10 of a point behind Blacksburg. And I'm not sure that's going to be enough. They have Millbrook and Hanley. Neither one of them played them. So I think that's right. They're going to miss the playoffs. Unreal. Did not see that coming this year. I saw Salem scrimmage back in early August against Maury. I thought they were a region title contender. They do have some better players as juniors, but that's a wow. That's a wow. So we told you 6A earlier. I have not figured out all of the complicated, really deep 6B, which had North Stafford lose to Riverbend tonight. And I got to give Riverbend some love again because I've been sleeping on Riverbend way too long. And Riverbend is a legitimate threat in 5D, where Stonebridge has a championship-level defense. Those two, they're on a collision course. Stonebridge with its defense and Riverbend with its offense, and the way they've been scoring points in bunches all year. But I can tell you some of what Robert sent me for the smaller classifications. He's got Rural Retreat as an 8 at Eastside, the 1 and 1D. Northwood, a 5 at Honeacre, the 4. Holston, the 6 at Rye Cove, the 3. Twin Springs, the 7 at Chilhowie, the 2. I'm sure you unofficial sheet is exponentially more sophisticated than mine. Can I get email to share? Yes, you can, please. I'm going to put you my email. It's hatfieldsports@gmail.com. So if anybody needs to email me any sheets out there, any region directors, people that are officially doing it for their regions or brackets, we'll post them on virginiapreps.com in the wee hours of the morning and tell the listeners, the fans, the audience, the readers out there, here you go. It's at your disposal. So I know some of the region chairs are working on those numbers over the weekend with some results that will come in on Saturday, but absolutely, we do appreciate that. 1C real quickly. And again, some of these points have been jacked up all year long with out-of-state games and private schools. And again, Laura Bickley was a saint when it came to doing this for the VHSL. She was the absolute best, and she retired. Hall of Fame career, no longer doing it, so it's been left up to the regions to decide and determine these points. But 1C, Robert's showing Bath County the 8 at Craig County the 1, who suffered their first loss of the year last week to Narrows. He's got Narrows the 4, the Green Wave hosting George Wythe the 5, Grayson County the 3 hosting Perry McClure the 6, Giles the 2 hosting Auburn the 7. We went through 3D earlier with Botetourt the 2, Cave Spring the 7, William Byrd the 3, Bassett the 6. A Byrd Botetourt second round game could be a classic because they've had some classics already. Carroll County the 4, Northside the 5, Abingdon the 8, Magna Vista the 1 in 3D. 2D's got Lehigh the 8 at Union the 1, the unbeaten Bears looking to roar. Gate City the 5, Graham the 4, Lebanon the 6, Virginia High the 3, Richlands the 7, Ridgeview the 2. Let me get to 2C and one of the storylines of the night, by the way, that I've glossed over, even though we've been on for over 30 minutes here on the IG Live. Matt Case, the terrific reporter for Roanoke Times, put this out earlier tonight. He was covering the Glenver-Floyd County game, and Matt noted that Brody Doyot, in a sling with a reported shoulder injury, will not play the second half. Brody Doyot, if you've been keeping up with our site, in fact, Robert Anderson did a nice in-depth piece for us on Brody becoming the VHSL's all-time career touchdown pass leader. He's a Charlotte commit. He's been offered by UVA, other schools trying to get him to flip his commitment. And Brody was in position, still is in position if he comes back from injury, to even challenge for Ronald Curry's career touchdown responsibility record, which people thought back in the 90s nobody would ever touch, catch, break. Doyot, quarterback, throws it, runs it, even plays some defense and has scored some touchdowns. According to Matt, about an hour ago, put out on Twitter or X, that Kevin Clifford, the coach at Glenver, said that his status is unknown. That is Brody Doyot's. They'll likely know more on Saturday. So let's hope all the best for Doyot. I would hate for Glenver to have its playoff championship hopes derailed because of injury due to Doyot here. And Glenver is our number one team in the state in Class 2. They've been all year long. If they're going to get beat, you want it to be beat on the field at full strength against another quality team. And someone could do that. Union could do that. Defending champ Graham could do that. Someone out east like a Pocosin or Strasburg or Armstrong could do that. But you'd hate to see Glenver bow out because they don't have Doyot at their disposal to try to go win the championship after losing last year in the state semis in a back-and-forth game that was up for grabs in the fourth quarter against Graham, who then went on to beat Strasburg in the championship after outlasting and rallying against Glenver. Jason, yes, Robert is still writing for us at VirginiaPreps.com. Got inducted in the Virginia High School League Hall of Fame this past year. Rightfully deserved it. Well-deserved. And he's one of the very best to ever do it. So privileged and honored to have him on our staff and contributing like he's done for a couple of years now. And that, let's see here, if that closes out this show. We may have a couple more final thoughts and parting shots. So 2C, real quick, where Glenver is in that region. Nelson County's the 8, Glenver's the 1, Appomattox County the 5, Radford the 4, James River Buchanan the 6, Floyd County the 3, Dan River the 7, Gretna the 2. And that pretty much covers some of the smaller classifications. Some quick thoughts, though, on the other divisions we were talking about, 6 and 5. Let's give you a couple quick thoughts here before we sign off. We told you about 6A. Colonial Forge has the 1 seed in 6B. Battlefield's a 2. North Stafford's a 3, it looks like. Woodbridge 4. Patriot 5. Independence 6. Forest Park 7. Garfield the 8. West Springfield's the 1 and 6C. South County now has leaped ahead of Lake Braddock, we think, for the 2 and 6C. 6D, Centerville's the 1 seed. Madison's a live 5 seed. How about Westfield, Washington Liberty as a 3-6 game potentially? Oh, my, it's really good. This is a really complicated one, and I want to make sure this is right before we report this officially and tell you that it's definite. But we thought this was the case. Based on what happened tonight with good counsel and Bishop McNamara, we do believe that Kings Fork has either tied Maury or finished 0.2 of a point ahead of Maury for the number 1 seed in 5B. Now, I know people are probably saying, what? How'd that happen? Well, Kings Fork got a lot more power points for beating Nansman River 1 week after beating Indian River. And Maury only beat Granby, who won 2 games. Now, if they're tied, I don't have the tiebreaker handbook and procedures in front of me. But I can tell you that at first glance, because, if I'm not mistaken, Kings Fork's first opponent was Wise out of Maryland, who only was credited with 9 games on its schedule. I think that would be the tiebreaker because I don't believe that was the case for Cardinal Gibbons or McNamara or Verina. So I think Kings Fork wins the tiebreaker no matter what under that circumstance, unless they have it down to district champion, which I don't think that's the case. So if it is the case, like I'm thinking it is, and Kings Fork is your 1 seed, we'll find out officially from the region chair. I think Greg Aiken does those over at Bird in Class 5 for us. We'll get that to us sent probably on Sunday, if not late Saturday. Your matchups would be Kings Fork the 1, Granby the 8, Maury the 2, Woodside the 7, Nansman the 4, Bethel the 5, Warwick the 3, and Norview the 6. So there you have it. Let's go to 5C and 5D for a second. Patrick Henry Roanoke's your 1 seed in 5C. Highland Springs is your 2. Fleming's your 3. Midlothian's your 4. I say keep an eye on Hermitage your 5. Hermitage your 5 is capable of winning not only over Midlothian, but also PH Roanoke. And we might get ourselves a Hermitage Highland Springs rematch from a classic a couple weeks ago. And if that does happen, boy, oh boy, that'll be some game. Let's see what else we have here. I'm checking some things real quickly before we get to it fully. All right, 5D. This was really close, 5D. Let's see if we got this right between Riverbend and Stonebridge, because this was one, looking at it for the week, I thought this had a chance to be a tie or down to the wire. So we look at some of the bonus points and how it's shaken out here for the finish. It looks, I'm going to double check it. It looks like Riverbend's going to finish up at 33-6 and Stonebridge at 33-9. But again, we'll double check that. That one's super close. Super close. So, again, a couple of those out-of-state opponents for Stonebridge I want to get clarification on, with Quince Orchard being one of those. So that matters a great deal, because I think you're looking at those two likely to hook up in the region final unofficially. Yep. Thank you, Light Ridge Athletics out there. Thank you so much. 33-9 to 33-6. Okay. So that does look like we're on point with that. So if that's indeed the case unofficially, then that means you're looking at Stonebridge hosting Riverbend. Remember, they lost to them last year, semis, before Briar Woods beat Riverbend. And, of course, Briar Woods had Brady Carmichael, had Trey Dudley, had Colin Capperstrant, really good receiver. Yeah, Dunbar. See, that's the game. I'm glad you put that up there on the IG, because Dunbar, some have not been counting that game. And that game was officially game. That was a game. That game was a final. I texted Coach Golston. It went down as an official game. The Poets from Maryland, yes. So that's why some people are going to have probably Riverbend ahead job out there. Masterful job. Yeah, you're right. Both teams. And they won that game. I remember watching on NFHS, and I saw the lightning delay, and I texted him. So that's actually one of them. I'm glad I was tuned in and I made the text. Pot Falls, your 3, Light Ridge the 6. I tell you what, Light Ridge's got some weapons. That's a scary game for Pot Falls. And John Champ, Briar Woods 4-5. That's got a chance to be a track meet. That has a chance to be a lot of scoring in that game. I've loved Lee Carter's Knights, Air Aldi, for a few years now. He doesn't have quite the weaponry he's had the last couple years, but John Champ put up 58 in its opener. They've not been putting up 40, 50 as frequently, but they have the chance to be really, really explosive. Quickly, 4A, Hampton Manors, your 1-8. Phoebus Churchland's your 4-5. War Hill Smithfield's your 3-6. Lafayette Denby's your 2-7. I like that Lafayette Denby game just because I want to see what Kevin Parker and that all fits with those receivers, Kellen Morrison, Jaron Evans, can do against the Lafayette defense, Andy Lynn's defense. They've got ballers at all 3 levels with Balmahog at linebacker. Intrigued by that game. Really intrigued by that game. We've highlighted 4B for you. 4C, Loudoun Valley, Loudoun County have your buys. Heritage Leesburg, Tuscarora is your 4-5. Woodgrove, Broad Run's your 3-6. We highlighted 4D for you earlier. Well, really not highlight it in depth because we're still waiting to see what happens with Hanley. And that pretty much covers the whole kit and caboodle for you folks. We've hit on just about everything tonight. So there you have it. We did all that in about 43 minutes and change. I'm out of breath. I need some water. I need a potty break. And I'm here to tell you that college basketball is underway. I'm actually more interested at one college basketball game on Saturday than I am all the college football games. Yeah, I'll tune into BYU, Texas Tech. But I'm more interested to see what happens with Ricky P., the St. John's Red Storm, against Alabama. And if that's going to be up and down. Thank you for all you do, too. Up and down. That could be a fun game on Saturday. Put that on your tube if you're watching some sports on Saturday. And in the NFL, I think your 2 best games are Pats and Bucks. Don't tell Coach Young, but give me Tampa Bay. I don't want him to steal my picks. He likes to steal my picks. He's notorious for stealing my picks and Bruce Pearl's picks. And then your Monday night game is going to be a good one, Eagles and Packers on Monday night. Really good game. Winner of that has a chance to get the 1 seed. That's right. Mitch Griffiths is getting some time for Texas Tech at a broad run. I forgot about that. He is getting some PT. Good old Mitch. Love watching Mitch play. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate it. We will catch you next time for the playoffs. You kidding me? Playoff. A postseason edition of the Hats Hits IG Live. It'll probably be our finale for the regular season as we say good night. Godspeed. Adios, amigos. See you later. Goodbye. Bon voyage. Mwah. It's been fun. We'll catch you next time right here on Oh the Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and tune in to 757 Sports Talk from 10 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern. We'll interact more with you and give you some more playoff intel and brackets as we receive them, please. Adios.